Hey gang, I'm Jen. Welcome to the first of a series of fun fact videos about actors whose voices were used in animated films. You know, sometimes when you're watching a film and you're like, oh, whose voice is that? My plan is to quiz you and maybe even teach you some trivia you didn't know along the way. In today's episode, I'll be talking you through the voice actors for the 1998 film The Prince of Egypt. You may already know some of them, but play along and see how many you can get right, and you might find something out that you didn't know along the way. There will be spoilers, so if you haven't seen the film, shame on you, then you have been warned. Number 1. Ramesses. Ramesses is the older and supposedly more responsible adopted brother of Moses, who despite becoming pharaoh spends much of the film acting like a petulant child, arguing with his hippie younger brother. In fact, it's Moses who ends up literally carrying the weight of the Ten Commandments, which some would argue is a bigger responsibility. Have a listen to see if you can work out who plays this high-maintenance ruler and which other roles he has played.
Wow, impressive. Very well, Moses. I'll play along.
Sound familiar? Imagine it lower, softer, and much more Slytherin.
By which time I shall be gone, and you shall be dead.
Hopefully you got it right. Ramesses was reincarnated as the Dark Lord himself in the Harry Potter series. Of course, it's the British actor Ralph Fiennes, who actually did all his own singing as well as dialogue for Ramesses, and seems to have a knack for playing villains. In fact, he plays them so well, he was unsurprisingly Oscar nominated for his portrayal of Eamon Girth in Schindler's List. I can confirm he's much nicer in real life and does have a real nose.
Does it think it's more important than the stones that form the base?
Number 2. Jethro. Everyone loves a wedding, and Jethro certainly knows how to celebrate. His jolly vibe totally lifts the mood about halfway through the film, where he becomes father-in-law to Moses. Watch the clip and see if you can tell which actor plays our desert Santa.
Let us give thanks for this bountiful food. And let us also give thanks for the presence of this brave young man whom we honor here tonight.
Guessed it? You might be able to tell by his voice that he is getting too old for this stuff.
You want to kill yourself? Oh, for Christ. Shut up! Yes or no? You want to die? Yes or no? I got the job done. What the hell do you want? Didn't answer the question.
Yep, it's the ready for retirement detective Roger Murtaugh from the Lethal Weapon films. The brilliant Danny Glover showed a more serious side, appearing in 4 Lethal Weapon films, and then as POTUS in the 2009 disaster film, confusingly titled 2012. Unlike Rafe, Danny didn't sing for the film, but instead the vocals were provided by the Tony Award winner Brian Stokes Mitchell. Danny certainly came a long way from the gentle giant Jethro when he played another detective, Detective David Tapp, in the horror franchise Saw. I'm not sure even looking through Heaven's Eyes could make that universe look any better.
I'm too old for this shit.
You were born of my mother, Yocheved.
Stop it.
You are our brother.
Now you go too far.
Number 3. Miriam. First seen as a child during, in my opinion, one of the most incredible opening songs of any musical ever, Miriam is introduced as Moses' older sister. Much later in the film, she's reintroduced as an adult, clearly wearing the same dress she was wearing as a child. I guess it just grew with her. Do you recognise this actress's voice?
I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Oh, please forgive me. I didn't expect to see you here. Of all places, at our door.
Any ideas? She might be tough to spot undercover.
Because I don't recall seeing a little skinny-ass white girl at the table growing up. Hey, first of all, thank you for calling me skinny.
That was nice.
Second of all, what is your problem? And third of all, you better apologize to me or I'll make me. I don't make.
Who else but Gracie Hart, aka Gracie Lou Freebush from Miss Congeniality 1 and 2. It might be difficult to hear it as we're more used to the comedic side of Sandra Bullock, but this is indeed her voicing the likeable Miriam. Although the character's singing was done by Sally Dworsky, who also sang for Nala in the 1994 Lion King film, it doesn't detract from Sandra's beautiful acting, which is out of this world. Speaking of out of this world, sorry, I couldn't resist, Sandra is also known for playing Ryan Stone in the space movie Gravity.
And if they ran, I would hunt them down.
Number 4. Aaron. Also seen initially as a child, Moses' other sibling, Aaron, is featured much more in the second part of the film and is a lot less ballsy than Miriam. Not wanting to rock any boats, Aaron does what he's told and begs for forgiveness when his sister stands up to the powers that be. To be fair to him, it's understandable when you've seen the way they're treated at the start of the film. The actor who plays him, however, is certainly not one to stay quiet. Who do you think it is?
She's exhausted from the day's work. Not that it was too much. We quite enjoyed it, but she's confused and knows not to whom she speaks.
Any thoughts on who this one-of-a-kind eccentric performer is?
There's another example. See, here I'm now by myself, talking to myself. That's chaos theory.
It's the unmistakable ray of sunshine that is Jeff Goldblum. Although Jeff is the singer, unfortunately for us, Aaron didn't have any songs to sing in The Prince of Egypt. How could we forget his work as Dr. Ian Malcolm in the Jurassic Park franchise, where he expertly frustrates particularly Hammond, but more accurately, everyone in the room? Jeff's ability to find a way of playing the smartest guy in the room is shown again in Independence Day, where he plays David Levinson, a former satellite technician who figures out the key to saving the day, while equally irritating everyone around him.
Yes?
I really hate that man.
When the gods send you a blessing, you don't ask why it was.
Number 5. Queen Tuya. Although she's not a major role in the film, the Queen's maternal instincts prompt her to adopt Moses, and so he becomes a Prince of Egypt alongside Ramesses. The turning point in the film is triggered when she comes clean about his adoption, and he realises without her, he would either still be a slave or dead. Cheery, I know. Queen Tuya is the calm among the storm, so it makes sense that she would be played by someone regal and strong. From this clip, who do you reckon it is?
You are our son, and we love you.
Why did you choose me?
We didn't, Moses. The gods did.
It's the Queen herself, Dame Helen Mirren, of course.
And foolishly, I believed that was what the people wanted from their queen, not to make a fuss nor wear one's heart on one's sleeve. Duty first, self second.
Well known for her calm and collected manner, she was perfectly cast for the motherly role in the film. Although Linda D. Shane performed the very small amount of singing that Queen Tuya does, Dame Helen is subtly brilliant and has a kind presence even in the very few scenes in which she appears. Helen played another commanding role, but just a smidge less royal, in the tense and brilliant Eye in the Sky as Colonel Catherine Powell.
I've always liked the idea of playing queens anyway.
Number 6. Pharaoh Seti. Seti has the opposite character traits to his wife, Queen Tuya. He is cold, stern and unforgiving. Similarly to her, however, he's not featured past the first act of the film, so his purpose is to show the expectations for future Pharaoh Ramesses, which are certainly mirrored in his son's behaviour later in the film. This is possibly one you already know, but for those of you that don't, have a listen.
Why do the gods torment me with such reckless, destructive, blasphemous sons?
Father, hear what
Be still, Pharaoh speaks.
Be careful, this iconic voice might end up controlling your thoughts.
I feel a great swell of pity for the poor soul who comes to that school looking for trouble.
I'm guessing you didn't need to cheat with IMDB for this one. It's the legendary Sir Patrick Stewart. Who else could play a ruler with such gravitas? Patrick's portrayal of Seti doesn't need the mind control of Professor X. He is terrifying enough. As well as starring in the X-Men franchise, Sir Patrick is famous for his role as Captain Jean-Luc Picard in Star Trek, a role that has spanned 35 years from 1987 to 2022, as well as numerous stage plays. Quite rightly, he also has a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame.
They were only slaves.
Number 7, Zipporah. Although not initially a fan of Moses, Zipporah, the eldest daughter of Jethro, eventually marries him. After their first meeting, she is tied up as a gift for Ramesses, but Moses further humiliates her in front of the royal court, causing her to fall in a pool of water. Don't worry, she more than gets her own back later on when she lets him fall down a huge well. Zipporah is independent, determined and brave, which to start with comes across as a little brattish, but as we go through the film, we see she is clearly a loving, loyal and kind woman who leaves her family to follow Moses across the desert and becomes especially close to Miriam, his sister.
I won't be given to anyone, especially an arrogant, pampered palace brat.
It's safe to say that Zipporah is catty, and the same can be said of the actress who plays her.
I am Catwoman.
Obviously, my clue gave it away. It's that white gold Michelle Pfeiffer who played Catwoman in Batman Begins 6 years before The Prince of Egypt. Michelle is a multi-award nominated and winning actress, so picking her most famous roles was tricky. It made sense then to mention her major breakout role as Elvira Hancock in Scarface, opposite Al Pacino, having played her first lead role only 1 year earlier. The drug addict Elvira is certainly a million miles away from Zipporah, showing Michelle's versatility across her career. Fun fact, she starred alongside fellow Prince of Egypt cast member Jeff Goldblum in Into the Night in 1985, 13 years before they worked together again as brother and sister-in-law in the desert. Like Jeff, Michelle is a singer and performed all of the dialogue and her singing for Zipporah.
That's why Papa says she'll never get married.
Hotep, hoy! Give this snake charmer our answer.
Number 8 and 9, Hotep and Hoy. Before we get started, which one is which? No, I don't mean actors, I think that would ruin the game. Hotep is the short one, and Hoy is the tall one, and both serve as high priests for Pharaoh Seti, and later on for Ramesses. They are cunning, trickster magicians, and act as the comic relief for the film. Moses and Ramesses as children bond over their amusement of the sorcerers, and enjoy causing havoc for them to clear up. They're not so funny later in the film though, when they belittle Moses' plight to free the slaves, and use smoke and mirror techniques to disprove the miracles that he is performing with God's powers. When Ramesses sides with them, rather than his brother, the downfall for him as Pharaoh begins. Actually, this is good news for everyone else, so maybe we should thank them.
Rest assured, Your Majesty.
Yes, we are going to demonstrate the superior might of our gods.
I suppose it makes sense for real-life double acts to be in films together, but which double act is this?
My friend Martin Short.
You look like Anderson Cooper froze to death on New Year's Eve.
Steve Martin and Martin Short met on the set of The Three Amigos in 1986 and have remained best friends ever since, starring in several films, TV shows and specials together. Steve voices Hotep and Martin voices Hoy, and both of them sang for the film. It's tricky to find projects with only one of them in, but for Steve Martin that's the hilarious Pink Panther remake, where he plays the unbelievably goofy Inspector Clouseau with the most ridiculous French accent you will ever hear. This film had me in stitches.
I would like to buy a hamburger.
I would like to buy a hamburger.
Potentially, he agreed to star in the remake after hearing Martin's equally ridiculous accent in Father of the Bride as Frank Egelhofer.
If I could have a moment of your time to discuss the manual.
The menu, remind me. The menu, yes.
They must have had fun, as both actors reprised these roles for the 2 sequels. Martin Short, without his buddy, stars as another trickster, Jack Frost, in the 3rd Santa Claus film, and more recently, the pair star alongside Selena Gomez in the original mystery series, Only Murders in the Building. And with both of them being on the production team, we get to see their playful friendship, which I really hope represents their real-life relationship.
Hello, ladies.
Number 10, Moses. Last but certainly not least, we come to Moses. Famously in the Bible, Moses was temporarily gifted God's powers in an effort to match Ramesses' might and help free the slaves. He was also given the 10 Commandments to display for all, which is included at the end of the film. Spoiler alert, the slaves are freed through the parting of the Red Sea, and Ramesses is left behind alone. Moses represents doing the right thing, even if it isn't easy, and has been written as a very relatable character, ignoring the God's powers bit. He makes mistakes, has baggage and a tricky past, but he also learns and grows, making him the hero of the story.
Because no kingdom should be made on the backs of slaves. Ramesses, your stubbornness is bringing this misery upon Egypt. It would cease if only you would let the Hebrews go.
This actor has a habit of playing the hero, but which other one has he played?
I see without seeing. To me, darkness is as clear as daylight. What am I?
It's not quite the same as moving millions of gallons of water with a stick, but the skills of Batman are a close second in my opinion, and in this version, Batman Forever, he is portrayed by Val Kilmer. Sandwiched between 2 other actors in the role, Kilmer played Batman just once in 1995 to mixed reviews. Potentially, he is more well known for his performance in the Top Gun films as Tom Iceman Kazansky.
You can be my wingman anytime.
As is the case with Moses, there is a character development which eventually makes him one of the most loved characters, particularly in the recent sequel. Although Amik Byram performed the singing for Moses, I think Val's voice for the dialogue was perfect.
Stop it. Stop!
Stop it! Leave that man alone!
Your brother.
Now we know who makes up this misfit group of characters, this becomes one mad family tree. Let's take Moses, aka Batman for starters, and we get his adopted dad as Professor X, adopted mum as Queen Elizabeth II, his sister is Miss Congeniality, and his brother is Dr. Ian Malcolm. His adopted brother is Voldemort, his wife is Catwoman, and his father-in-law is the President of the United States. I wouldn't want to be at that family gathering. Thanks for watching till the end, and if you enjoyed today's video, like or leave a comment. Let me know which actors you knew and any other films you want me to cover. Subscribe if you want to see more. Au revoir for now!